Ladies and gentlemen, we have good news and we have bad news, right? Now, we have a couple different good things. Underdog just launched a few more tournaments, and these are high stakes tournaments here on Underdog. Now, maybe you want to say the $101 one is not, but they just launched the Dalmatian $100,000 prize pool, $101 entry, and they launched the Bulldog. I almost won the first Bulldog last year, but we actually ended up winning the second Bulldog. It would have been crazy if we took both down, but nonetheless, going to be happy to hop into one of these high stakes drafts very, very soon. Today, we will be hopping into the puppy. Now, that's the good news that they went through and launched those massive ones. The bad news is I saw Nolan in the chat says he wouldn't bother entering in either of the high stakes negative EV since he's going to win both. So that's a little painful. That's not the best of news, but nonetheless, we're going to hop in the $5 one today. Let me know if you want a $100 draft tomorrow. If you want a $100 draft tomorrow on the live stream, we will definitely get in one. But thank you so much, everybody coming out. Super happy to see y'all. We are in this puppy, and it looks like it is filled. Hopefully, I'm not having a draft with too many of y'all. Now, even if I am having a draft with a lot of y'all, I mean, good news. We get the 104, okay? So we are going to be able to lock and load one of these top wide receivers here, so I'm going to be excited about that. Jimmy's, I believe, is maybe a member of the flock, or they're just in drafts all the time. I definitely recognize that name. I think that they are a member of the flock. I think Coop may be as well, and it looks like we have Isaiah Pacheco in this draft at 10, which is very, very interesting here. But Nick says he's in there at 6 with us. Lagura Vlogs says in there at 11. Ray says in there at 12. Jordan at the 102. Okay, so it looks like we do have a lot of people in this draft with us, but what's nice is a lot of them are on the other side of the draft board, so we aren't going to have to worry about them. So let's go ahead. Let's dive into this. And real quick, as this draft starts, I do need to point this out. I'm sure that a lot of y'all already saw this on Underdog, but I have no idea how they are doing this many free bets for us. They have never done this many in like a row. I swear it seems like we're getting one every single day, but make sure you go ahead and take advantage of the free James Harden bet. And real quick, Underdog is available in these states for drafts. So yellow is going to have drafts. Gray will have drafts as well, and yellow will have the free bet. Gray will have drafts, but no pick'em available, so there won't be that James Harden line for you. And I'm sorry, the black states Underdog is not available, and it's available everywhere in Canada but Ontario. But I just want to be clear with that. So let's go ahead and let's just take Cooper Kupp here. Like I said, we are locking ourselves into grabbing one of these elite level wide receivers, given the running backs that we're going to be able to get later on. So easy to go through and take Cooper Kupp at pick 4 and just wait for the running backs to fall. And of course, I mean, if you are not already on Underdog, promo code FLOCK, you'll get a 100% deposit match with promo code FLOCK with the link in the live chat, link in the description, link in the comment section. And also, if you are a member of Underdog and flockfantasy.com, you are going to get an exclusive piece of Underdog/Flock merch going your direction very, very soon. And also special credit added into your Underdog account only for members of flockfantasy.com and Underdog. Really excited about that. But Chris says, can't wait for that Texas move in the summer. My man, I don't know if we asked you this in the other live stream, but let me know where you're moving to in Texas. Cooper says, drafted right next to you yesterday in a puppy, not on the live stream. Yeah, I think, I don't know what time it was yesterday. So my go-to, what I've been doing now is I've been getting on the Stairmaster, just turning that bad boy on, throwing in 3 puppy drafts, and it just takes you to a completely different place. So, I mean, you can go through and get your cardio in and not even have to, I mean, think about the fact that you're doing cardio, and instead you can just be firing off Underdog drafts. But we're doing a lot at a time. I mean, I think we've been now probably in 6 to 7 puppy drafts a day at this point off the live stream. And then, of course, our 1 to 2 on the live stream. So, seems like we're getting in about 10 of these drafts a day, maybe a little bit less, but we're getting in a lot. But Kenny says, does your strategy for PPR leagues differ from Underdog? So the big difference you're going to have on Underdog versus a regular redraft PPR format is Underdog roster construction is going to matter so damn much. Because this is best ball, there's no time commitment at all during the season. It is going to make you be very strict with what positions you take where, as well as the amount of each position that you take. So on Underdog, you need to take 2 to 3 quarterbacks, 4 to 6 running backs, you need to be taking 2 to 3 tight ends. In the rest of your roster spots, you need to be slamming in wide receiver. Obviously, what's different in a regular redraft league, if you have access to the waiver wire, you're able to just go ahead and you're able to just take whoever you believe the best value on the board is and then make it work with trades and waiver wire moves later on. Now, yeah, Jordan pointing out Bijan at 10 is nice. Well, Bijan fell to 11 here. This is the furthest that I think I have ever seen him fall. Like I said in the live stream yesterday, in the majority of the drafts I'm in, he goes picks 4, 5, 6. So I have not taken Bijan Robinson in a single draft post the NFL draft. I took him in a few big board drafts when you were getting him in the second round. But since he was going mid first, I haven't taken him much just because I personally am taking guys like Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, maybe even over him, A.J. Brown over him. So, I mean, I don't find myself in a position to take a lot of Bijan Robinson. But if he were to be falling to this 1-2 turn with Austin Eckler, with Jonathan Taylor, I'll definitely go through and start taking him there. Okay. Jay Fresh out here. Happy to see you, my friend. Happy to see you. Tanner says, Joshua Kelly has been going round 18 or undrafted. Seems odd considering Eckler could go down any week. If you were 100% confident that that Joshua Kelly was the primary backup to Austin Eckler and he was the running back 2 on that depth chart, you, of course, would be going through and taking Joshua Kelly in every single one of these drafts. The main issue in taking Joshua Kelly is while maybe he's your favorite to be the backup here, you never really know who it's going to be at the end of the day. So I think that's why he's going round 18. Like I said, if you are 100% confident that Joshua Kelly is the backup running back, is that number 2 option in Los Angeles, especially when at the end of the day, they don't use Austin Eckler as a true bell cow. I mean, you would be printing money to take Joshua Kelly there in round 18 every time. But very similar to what we were talking about with the video that we made this morning, you still have to think, I mean, in the back of your mind that Ezekiel Elliott could be going to Los Angeles. Kareem Hunt could be going to Los Angeles. Leonard Fournette could be going to Los Angeles. And not necessarily as a piece that's going to go in there and get a big contract and all of a sudden be a starting running back. No, of course, those guys aren't going to be starters, but they could definitely go in there and just have a role and negatively impact the other guys you're going to find in that offense. Rudimentrix says, do you factor in bye weeks in best ball selections? Not in these massive large field tournaments, because what I found is if you are trying to factor in bye weeks here, you're going to be in a weird spot in that all the money is in weeks 15, 16, 17. B, you're going to deviate from maybe what you perceive to be your optimal selection. And C, if you were to take a few players that share the same bye and everybody else is avoiding those guys with the same bye, you could even lead to a unique combination for the fantasy football playoff tournament. And I would way rather focus in on trying to get the highest ceiling I can for weeks 15, 16, 17, especially if we get there and we have a unique team. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Kupp, Olave, and Derrick Henry through the first 3 rounds. Now, Cameron coming out says 10-team Superflex trade Khalil Herbert for Zach Charbonnet, contending now if that makes a difference. I'm definitely going to go ahead and take Zach Charbonnet there. I mean, with Khalil Herbert and Charbonnet, like, we'll look at where they go in this draft right here, but I'll tell you, they're going neck and neck pretty much. And if you're going to look at the fact that Zach Charbonnet is a rookie, he is a much better player in my mind. He has a much better prospect profile. I'm going to take Zach Charbonnet in Dynasty, not really going to think about it even if you are a contender. I mean, well, yeah, Khalil Herbert has looked really good at times. I mean, with a limited workload. At the end of the day, I mean, you do see the Chicago Bears go through and sign Deontay Foreman this offseason. They draft Roschon Johnson in the 4th round. I think it's almost anybody's backfield there, and I think it's probably going to be a committee regardless. Now, the chef coming out says 10-team PPR redraft, Bijan or Saquon Barkley. I think at this point, you're going to have to go ahead and you're going to have to take Bijan Robinson over Saquon Barkley post landing spot. Before the NFL draft, I was hesitant to go through and say that we could lock in Bijan Robinson over Saquon Barkley. But now that we see Bijan go to a team that wants to lead the NFL in carries, and on top of this, Saquon Barkley still doesn't have his contract situation worked out, I think you're going to have to go through. I think you're going to have to take Bijan Robinson over Saquon Barkley. Okay. Now we have Amari Cooper going off the board there, pick 35. Now this is very interesting. We have another team, just like the live stream we had yesterday, go through and get Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. I mean, you have to be so damn excited if you have the start of those two guys. I mean, like I said, I don't know if I've drafted Christian McCaffrey in a single one of these yet, but that's because in the majority of them, Christian McCaffrey's been going at pick 3, and I'm not taking him at pick 3 or 4 or maybe even 5. I'm going to be honest with you. But if you could lock yourself into CMC and Saquon Barkley, very few people in this overall tournament are going to be able to have that unique start. And yeah, it is a start with a lot of upside. You could clearly see both those guys being the running back 1 and running back 2 overall. Dominic says that's him at pick 6. Congrats, my man. I'm going to be interested to see how that team looks at the end of this. Peter coming out with a donation. Thank you. Christian Watson goes at pick 38. So I have noticed, I don't want to say, oh, it's because we made a video of it or anything. Of course, I don't think that. But I mean, back about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and we were going through and labeling our must draft wide receivers, we had Christian Watson, and he was going at the 4-5 turn in these drafts. He had an ADP of about 47. And now I very rarely ever see Christian Watson go after DJ Moore. Like, I feel like people kind of wisened up. People have realized, oh yeah, I mean, we were drafting DJ Moore over Christian Watson. That didn't really make much sense. Let's go through and let's fix that. Okay, so we have Justin Fields falling in a lot of drafts lately as well. I mean, we took Justin Fields in the 4th round in a live stream yesterday. I believe we took Justin Fields in the 4th round of a draft earlier this morning as well. That wasn't on the live stream. Be interesting to see what Dominic does here. Dominic has CMC, Saquon Barkley. He goes Justin Fields, okay. I would have taken Justin Fields at pick 45 if he would have made it to us. So we're not going to take Joe Burrow. We don't have Jamar Chase. We don't have T. Higgins. If we would have taken T. Higgins in the 2nd round, I would take Joe Burrow here. Mike Williams goes, we're going to go ahead. We're just going to take DeAndre Hopkins. Just grab a wide receiver. I mean, all these guys are about the same. Y'all know we made that video trying to figure out who the landmine wide receiver was out of this massive group of guys in Christian Watson, Jerry Jeudy, Drake London, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, DeAndre Hopkins. And essentially our takeaway was, yeah, DJ Moore is that guy. Let's avoid DJ Moore. But the chef coming out with a donation, thank you, says, Pollard, Ramondre Swift, best to worst in redraft. I think you definitely have to go Pollard, Ramondre, then DeAndre Swift. I think Swift isn't even close to those guys, if I'm going to be honest with you, my friend. Montana coming out says, Jeep guy here, gonna get that member icon when I get to my laptop. Got an iPhone. My man, thank you so much for coming out. And let me pull this up. I know we asked you the other day what the YouTube name was. Let me pull this up. Just so I can have it on my phone once I end this live stream to go ahead and look at. Montana Off-Road. Perfect. Subscribe, my friend, and we'll definitely go through and check that out after this. Actually, probably not right after this. Right after this, I'm going to have a Dynasty live stream, but definitely later tonight. Now, Dornage coming out with the donation. Thank you. Says 12-team PPR keeper, keeping Jefferson in the 12th. We have the 5th pick. Do we take Kelsey, Devontae Adams, or Austin Eckler? Personally, if you're playing in a shallow redraft format, I mean, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Travis Kelsey. Like if you only have, say, 2 wide receiver starting slots, and then maybe we'll take Keenan Allen here. We just definitely want to grab a wide receiver before the tier drop. Yeah, so if you're going to only be starting, say, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex, I mean, their wide receivers not going to be too valuable just because everybody's going to have more than enough depth to go around. And I would rather go ahead and I would rather actually just grab the elite level tight end in Travis Kelsey. But Peter coming out with a donation. Thank you. Says a super flex 12-team PPR, Chase and Diggs or CMC and CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to go ahead and take Chase and Diggs here. I'd rather have Diggs over Lamb. I'm just hesitant because if you are in that shallow redraft format that we were just talking about, where if you only start 2 wide receivers and a flex, and you can only at the very most get 3 wide receivers in your starting lineup, there you're going to be disincentivized to go with the wide receiver, and there I'd actually probably pivot over to Christian McCaffrey. It's just difficult, obviously, not knowing exactly what you have in terms of, I mean, the exact starting lineup requirements. Okay. Now, Brendan says, am I an idiot for taking Jackson Smith and Jigba over Keenan Allen? Personally, no. If you look at my rankings, I mean, I actually have JSN ranked over Keenan. Now, if I would go through and actually draft these guys in a large field best ball tournament, I probably would go ahead and take Keenan Allen. I get pick 52 because I feel like it will lead to a little more of a unique combo, given the fact that he does fall about 4 picks past ADP here. But I mean, I completely understand the thought process in going Jackson Smith to Jigba. They're both in wide receiver cores now that have 3 solid options. I mean, in the case of Los Angeles, you're looking at Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston. In the case of Seattle, you're looking at JSN, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf. Dornage says it's a 3 wide receiver league. If it's a 3 wide receiver league, I'm going to go ahead. I'll take Jamar Chase over Christian McCaffrey there, my friend. Okay, now we have a small run on wide receiver, so I feel comfortable with that Keenan Allen selection, especially now that you see Mike Williams off the board, because now you'd kind of be hoping that you get Tyler Lockett making it back around to you, and obviously that's not the best situation to be in. So, yeah, I'm happy with our Keenan Allen selection there at pick 52. But Allen coming out says, Dalton Kincaid, Sam Howell, or a 2024 first and Keenan Allen in a 12-team Superflex tight end premium format. Oh my gosh. I'm not a Sam Howell guy, so I'll take the first round pick, but I could easily be wrong there. The chef says Breece, Pollard, Mixon, best to worst in redraft. I'm going to go Pollard, Breece, then Mixon, just given Breece is coming off that torn ACL. Now, Kyle Pitts goes off the board 62. I found myself getting Kyle Pitts a lot at the 6-7 turn. I feel like Kyle Pitts is someone that's been recently falling in a lot of these drafts. And trust me, I'll be super happy to go through and take that discount that we have on Pitts. Now, Justin Herbert goes off the board 63. Here's what I don't really understand. I mean, I feel like if I was the team that took Austin Eckler in the first, right? I mean, I took Austin Eckler at pick 12, and you had Justin Herbert falling maybe 13 picks behind his ADP. I don't really see how we take Dalvin Cook over Justin Herbert here. I think that this Herbert value is incredible. It just seems weird that it wasn't the Austin Eckler team that decided to go through and pull the trigger. Okay. Mind Trick says, any late round picks you see moving up before the season? My go-to answer with this is Trey Lance. I mean, Trey Lance, my most drafted player here. I think Trey Lance will be starting for an NFL team this next year. I can't be 100% confident it's the 49ers, but I think he'll be starting for an NFL team for sure. And I think that this is a player that has so much freaking rushing upside that there's no reason he should be going as late as he is. Okay. Now, Jordan Addison goes off the board here at 65. Isaiah Pacheco, 66. I have the stream. I'm looking at it pulled up on my phone right now. YouTube is the freaking best, to be honest with you. I say something and 1 second later, it's going through my phone. The lag that is here is barely anything. Barely anything. Okay, Dallas Goedert goes. So we're going to get Miles Sanders falling here to the late 6th. I mean, there are going to be very few teams that have Miles Sanders down here at pick 69. I mean, when these contests first opened up, Miles Sanders was actually going closer to the 4-5 turn than the 6-7 turn. I mean, here, if he's falling this far to the end of the 6th round, I'd be completely fine going through and drafting Miles Sanders when he's pretty much guaranteed to be the starting running back there, given the contract and given the lack of overall competition you have in Carolina. Okay. Like, we have a question. Snakehead says, is Kenneth Walker at the 4-5 turn good value? Just took him at pick 48. Personally, I don't know if I've drafted really Kenneth Walker at all. I would much prefer having like pick 69 Miles Sanders, pick 70 J.K. Dobbins, than pick 48 or pick 50 Kenneth Walker. Okay. So far running back, we have Derrick Henry, Miles Sanders. Wide receiver, we have Cooper Kupp, Chris Olave, DeAndre Hopkins, and Keenan Allen. This is an old team. Oh my gosh. Mark says, can DeAndre Swift be the league-winning running back this year? I don't know if you had a chance to read the article we had on flockfantasy.com regarding DeAndre Swift. In general, DeAndre Swift at ADP is going to be someone that I'm looking to avoid this next season for a multitude of different reasons. I definitely look to, go through and read the article we put out on the site, my friend, about DeAndre Swift. I mean, we dive in deep on why, in general, we're not taking DeAndre Swift at his ADP. Now, when we need a running back and he falls 7 picks past it, and the amount of teams that are going to be able to get Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift at the 6-7 turn are extremely minimal. So for the large field tournament, this is going to create a unique combo. I will go through and I will draft DeAndre Swift here, but Swift is not someone I'm taking a ton of. But Matthew is coming out with the donation. Thank you. Says 12-team PPR dynasty win now situation. Traded Waddle and a fourth. So traded Waddle, fourth is nothing, for Gibbs and Addison. If you're a win now team, I don't love it, but that's because I'm a massive Waddle guy. In reality, I mean, this is a very fair deal. This is a very good deal as well. I mean, if I'm looking at Jahmyr Gibbs right now, he is a borderline top 5 running back in Dynasty. You're getting the upside shot with Addison as well. I think that's great. Okay. Nebula says, how do I get in a draft with you? Okay, so if you want to get in a draft, first thing, go to the link in the description, go to the link in the comment section, sign up for Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK. You'll get a 100% deposit match, and we're going to do this every single day. I drafted over 700 of these teams this past year, and real quick, the yellow and gray states on this map is where you can get into Underdog Fantasy drafts. In the gray states, you cannot get access to Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. But if you are in a yellow state, you also have access to Pick'em, and there's the free bet there with James Harden. So I definitely go ahead and take advantage of that. And it's also available everywhere in Canada but Ontario. So yeah, essentially just go sign up for Underdog. And when there's a tournament that I'm excited about drafting in on the live stream, then we'll be doing tournament drafts. So you'll essentially join the tournament the same time that I do. But if there's no tournament that I'm excited to draft in at the moment, then I'll be setting up private drafts, and I'll send a private draft link in the live chat. Okay. Now we have Dak Prescott going off the board. Pick 87. So we obviously still need a quarterback, right? But I mean, if we're looking at QB options for us that could be on the way back around, Tua, hell, we don't have Tyreek. We don't have Waddle. Daniel Jones, I mean, if Daniel Jones were to fall to us at a respectable point, I'd definitely take him and look to go ahead and possibly bring in someone like Wan'Dale Robinson, look to possibly bring in someone like, Paris Campbell later on. But so far, we don't have anybody for the Giants. Daniel Jones is gone anyway. And Kirk Cousins, I really have no interest in here in the 8th round. And I honestly wouldn't even take Kirk Cousins in the 9th round because we have no Jefferson. We have no Hawkinson. I'm sorry. We're just sitting here thinking. Probably going to make a pick not too many people will be fond of. I don't really care. I mean, with Javonte Williams, this is a running back that a lot of people are avoiding because he's going to give you nothing at the beginning of the year. And of course, it's not great. I would rather have my running back out there producing right away, of course. However, if we are going to look at Javonte Williams, one thing that is nice that we are going to get is an elite ceiling in weeks 15, 16, 17. You are going to be looking at a player that, because he'll miss the beginning portion of the season, he will be at lower ownership in the massive fantasy football playoff tournament in weeks 15, 16, 17, because he will have a lower advance rate overall. So maybe if we can sneak through a team with Javonte Williams and we're one of the only teams there with Williams, then all of a sudden we're able to have access to a high ceiling that not other many people can match. Maybe we're overthinking it, but Hola Brown, happy to see you out here, says, love the Javonte Williams pick. He'll be a beast mid-season. It's all about value for me, right? I mean, if we were having to take him in round 5, then hell no, I'm not taking Javonte Williams. But if we're getting Javonte at the 8-9 turn, I like it. Okay. Now, Brian Robinson goes off the board, pick 97. Alvin Kamara, 98. Okay, so if we're looking at this, like I said, Cousins not appealing to us. At some point, we would take Tua if he continues to fall, but here it's probably not that point just yet. I personally really like drafting David Njoku. I'm going to go ahead and take David Njoku at pick 100 here. It seems like David Njoku may be my most drafted tight end so far this year, and a primary reason for this is just the wide receivers in this range, I think are very bad. We already have 4 running backs, so if we were to go through and take another running back here, we can't take a single other running back through the rest of this draft. and I'd rather keep some flexibility with our roster. So yeah, we'll take David Njoku just kind of as a de facto. I guess we have nobody else left. Let me pull up exactly how many leagues I've drafted David Njoku in, though. Okay. Okay, David Njoku is tied as my most drafted tight ends. Greg Dulcich, David Njoku are my top 2 most drafted tight ends. Greg Dulcich, very similar to Njoku. It's just the range of the draft that he's in. It's like, okay, well, who the hell am I supposed to take here? Like, I'm not excited about any of the wide receivers. I mean, usually at that point, we can't even be taking running backs. But we'll see. We'll see. Now we have Tua, Kirk Cousins going off the board, 104, 105. I think Tua has an ADP of 93. So pretty big fall for Tua. Pat Freiermuth is definitely someone I would have also taken if Pat Freiermuth would have made it back to us at 117. Jordan says, Dulcich is my second most drafted player. Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't expect to draft him a lot this season. It's not like I would have ever guessed in a million years, oh yeah, I'm going to be taking a ton of. It's just more so about where he falls. Okay. Rashad Bateman off the board. Let's swing this back around. Mindtricks also says Dulcich is my most drafted right now. Well, hopefully we're not butchering the name. I mean, it's probably embarrassing. I know there are probably so many names that we just butcher and have been for years. But, oh no, I'm just an idiot. The Pound coming out says, holy mother flocker, happy to see you out here. Yeah, the Pound recently had an article on flockfantasy.com, which is really cool. But happy to see you out here. Happy to see you out here, my man. Okay. Now we have Khalil Herbert going off the board, 111. Juju Smith-Schuster, 112. Allen Lazard is someone that we actually took in a draft earlier today. I believe we took him in the 11th round. Very rarely am I taking Allen Lazard, though. Like, I would much prefer avoiding Allen Lazard if we can. Okay, so Tyler Boyd goes. Devon Achane, I feel like I've never seen him go at his ADP. Like, every draft that I'm in, he is always falling 10 to 15 picks behind it. I don't know how his ADP isn't lower at this point. Like, there are still other running backs on the board that I'd prefer over Devon Achane. Geno Smith, we don't really have too much interest in. I mean, we didn't take Lockett. We didn't take JSN. We didn't take DK Metcalf. Zach says, just signed up on Underdog with your code. Hell yes, my man. Hopefully able to get into a draft with us sometime soon. We'll definitely be live streaming a draft tomorrow, but we may do the high stakes draft tomorrow. So if you just signed up for Underdog, you'll probably not want to join that one with us. I mean, if you're just getting into Underdog, highly recommend you just try out a couple of the $5 puppy drafts, especially with it being a 30-second timer. I mean, some people aren't used to it. Personally, I can only draft with the 30-second timer now. I mean, it is brutal trying to be in a draft with a 60-second one, but okay. Eric says high stakes are slow only. They don't have the fast Dalmatian. I know the Bulldog's going to be slow only, but I figured that Dalmatian, they'd have fast. No? Oh, slows only. Never mind. It's a single entry as well. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So Antonio Gibson goes off the board here, 120. Devon Achane goes off the board, 119. Yeah, we took Jacoby Myers, kind of last wide receiver in that tier for us. I mean, a couple of the other running backs that can make it back around, I'm fine with. And I honestly don't necessarily know if we want to be going through and slamming a running back here. It's going to depend on who we're looking at. Our guy's off the board, Elijah Mitchell. So what the hell am I doing here? Maybe if we're trying to sneak a Javonte Williams team through. We'll go ahead. We'll take Samaje Perine. F it. Sure. He falls 9 picks past his ADP. Our guy in Elijah Mitchell's taken. It is what it is. The Pound says, I hate slow drafting, but I think there's a pretty big edge to slow drafting right now where you can find your week 17 correlation in mini stacks and look at bye weeks. My friend, I am not about the week 17 correlation life, especially if you're drafting in the Bulldog, especially if you're drafting in the Dalmatian. If you want to sit here and say, Mason, come on, man, the puppy has 100,000 entries. Look at how large the final week is. You need your week 17 correlation. If you want to go through and make the argument for maybe Best Ball Mania, which I wouldn't even really focus in on that with Best Ball Mania now with the regular season scoring as well. But if you wanted to say, Mason, it really, really matters for the puppy when so much of the prize pool is obviously for week 17 and it's going to be such a large final round that you have to kind of stand out. Sure. But if it's 1,000-person fields where I'm assuming the last round's maybe 20 people. I mean, the Bulldog final rounds, I believe, were like 8. Last thing I'm doing is worrying about week 17 correlation. Yeah, Nolan says week 17 correlation with only 1,000 entries is gross. I mean, yeah, we won the Big Dog last year, won the Bulldog 2 last year. So the high stakes tournaments with no week 17 correlation. We only got 16th place in Best Ball Mania last year. Maybe if we would have correlated week 17, we could have had a little bit of a better finish in Best Ball Mania, but okay. Now we have the year 2 tight ends in Tennessee going off the board there at 131. In my mind, the wide receivers in this range are just so gross. So gross. I'd say like the last 4 rounds, once you get like Deontay Johnson and Jahan Dotson off the board, it's like, what the hell am I doing here at wide receiver? So if you look at my exposures across the board to maybe Cortland Sutton, Michael Thomas, Zay Flowers, Jameson Williams, Elijah Mitchell, Odell Beckham Jr., Rashad Bateman, Juju, I probably have very little. You know what? Let's do that. I want to go through and see exactly how much wide receiver we have in rounds 8, 9, and 10, because in my mind, this is the clear spot to be avoiding the wide receiver position and grabbing a couple quarterbacks, grabbing a few tight ends, grabbing a few running backs. So starting off with Cortland Sutton, I have him in 1% of drafts so far. Michael Thomas, I have him in 8% of drafts. Zay Flowers, I have in 5%. Jameson Williams, I have in 0 drafts. Elijah Moore, I have in 11%. Elijah Moore's a little bit different here. Odell, I have in 9. Bateman, I have in 1%. Juju, I have in 5%. Lazard, I probably have in 0. Myers is someone that I've actually been drafting a decent amount, though. Eric says Sutton is dust. Sutton has never been good. Like, y'all know how everybody and their mom screams at me for saying that Justin Fields is probably not that great of a quarterback. Last year, what people were screaming at me for is saying that Cortland Sutton, not good. Cortland Sutton literally has never been a top 24 wide receiver from a per game perspective. Never. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Russell Wilson. We have the running backs there in Denver. Maybe that means something. It probably doesn't, but Love Star says, we knew Sutton was dusted last year. I mean, and people say this now, but yeah, back when he was going in the 3rd round and your favorite fantasy football analyst was screaming that he was Cooper Kupp, people hated me for mentioning that Cortland Sutton was bad. Like, I don't know. Now, Greg Dulcich goes off the board here, pick 142. Definitely would have been someone we would have looked to get on the way back around at pick 148. I mean, when we take Russ here, really hoping that Greg Dulcich does make it to us at pick 148. That way we can get that stack with Denver. But I honestly feel like Russell Wilson is someone I've been drafting probably a little bit too much of. But it seems so common for Russell Wilson to fall to the 12-13 turn. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen Russell Wilson go at his ADP. Like, I've taken him in a decent amount of drafts, and every time we've taken him, it's been way after. Okay, Alec Pierce goes off the board 144. Nebula says, why is Javonte Williams going so low? You're saying you could see him have a Josh Jacobs breakout. Okay, so big thing is Josh Jacobs was good before the breakout, okay? Like if you looked at Josh Jacobs, it didn't come from nowhere. Josh Jacobs, the previous 3 seasons going into last year was like the running back 14, running back 13, and running back 12 from a points per game perspective. He had always been a low-end RB1 and a high-end RB2. People just thought it would be good to throw out some random propaganda that Josh Jacobs was horrible at football because it made you sound smart. Just like saying Courtland Sutton was great made you sound smart. Just like saying Justin Fields is great makes you sound smart. But anyway, if you're looking at Javonte Williams, he's never had the success that Josh Jacobs had going into last season. And on top of this, Javonte Williams has a destroyed knee. Destroyed knee. So, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I take Javonte Williams here, pick 93. I'm not sitting here and saying that like it's a bad selection by any means. Of course, I mean, I've been drafting Javonte Williams at this range. I just don't want to try to label him as like the Josh Jacobs of this past year because Josh Jacobs had a way better profile. Okay. Now, real quick, if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Let me see how many we're at. I think we're about to hit 200 likes. Oh, shoot. Yeah, we already hit 200 likes in the stream. Thank you so much, everybody, going down there and hitting that like button. Okay, now we have a couple of running backs going off the board with Tyler Algier, Roschon Johnson, as well as Raheem Mostert. To be honest with you, I mean, I like the value of these running backs. Like, I'd probably rather have Roschon Johnson over DJ Chark. The issue is we've just already taken too many running backs, and we just need to grab a few wide receivers. And with this team, honestly, how we waited so long on quarterback and tight end, I'm probably going to have to go ahead and draft 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends. So it's not the best thing in the world. It's like definitely not great, but I've found myself being stuck in that position more and more often. Okay. Lunar says DJ Chark is my most drafted player. I've taken a decent amount of DJ Chark, and I mean, I think partially it's because I'm not a big Jonathan Mingo guy. And if you're not a big Jonathan Mingo guy, like I'm not, kind of de facto, you have to go in the direction of DJ Chark just because who else is going to get the job done? I mean, if you assume Bryce Young's going to give you anything at all. Okay. Newey, this is a team that went Eckler, Gibbs, Mixon, Dalvin out the gate at running back. They have Rodgers, Kyler, Young at QB. Goes Dawson Knox, 157. I would have been excited to get like 14th, 15th round Dawson Knox. If we had Dawson Knox 15th round, even with Dalton Kincaid coming over as that round 1 pick, I'd have been fine just getting a piece of that Buffalo Bills offense, especially on a 3 tight end build where we just kind of need to find someone that can have some random spike weeks. Pacheco here goes Chase Brown over Jalen Warren. Very, very interesting. Mind Trick says, I think there's a world where Juju Smith-Schuster is a solid wide receiver too. I mean, I think a big thing with Juju is since he's been, in the news, he's been around since 2017. At this point, people just kind of have Juju Smith-Schuster fatigue. And you're also going from Kansas City to New England. So, it makes sense why people would be off of Juju in general. Okay. Wan'Dale Robinson goes, ooh, this is interesting. I'm sorry, give me a sec. I'm going to roll the dice. Obviously, we want both Matthew Stafford and Trey Lance when we wait this late to grab our 2 quarterbacks. Obviously, we have Cooper Kupp, so any smart person in the world would go through and take Matthew Stafford. Any smart person ever would. But here's my thought process. My thought process is a few of these people in this draft are members of the flock. I think collectively we're probably higher on Trey Lance than most. I think the probability Lance would make it back to us is slim to none. You can take Lance unstacked because his rushing upside. However, Stafford, because he doesn't have any rushing upside, you kind of need to take him with Cooper Kupp, and we have Cooper Kupp. So despite ADP, I think if we were trying to bet on who could make it back to us, it would be Stafford and it wouldn't be Lance. Love Stars says I'm taking Stafford there. Dominic says Lance is there. We'll see if it works. We'll see. We'll see. This team can't really go tight end. They have Dulcich, Juwan Johnson, and Irv Smith Jr. They go with the tight end. They take Gerald Everett. They take a 4 tight end. Yeah, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get Matthew Stafford paired up with Cooper Kupp. Oh, my gosh. Let me flex on y'all there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful execution. Oh. Love Star says, wow, it worked. Yeah. It's almost as if I've been in thousands of these drafts, right? It's almost as if this isn't my first rodeo. I mean, but yeah, nonetheless, getting Stafford, what, like 15, 16, 17, I don't even remember how many picks past his ADP with Cooper Kupp. Oh, this is good. I am very excited about this. So let me show off this roster real quick. Currently, at wide receiver, we have Cooper Kupp, Chris Olave, DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Jacoby Myers, DJ Chark. At running back, we have Derrick Henry, Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine. Tight end, we have David Njoku. So I like this team. The definite limitation of this team is while we generally try to only draft a combined 6 QBs and tight ends, 5 QBs and tight ends. Here it looks like we're going to have to take a combined 6. So that's not great, but I mean, it is what it is. Sam says, love Stafford this year. QB 23 or something. Also love grabbing Van Jefferson late too. I probably need to go through and look at some Van Jefferson. I mean, because the thing is, outside of Cooper Kupp, you legitimately just have nothing there, right? You have nobody in Los Angeles outside of Kupp. And for everybody just now coming in, I know 99% of y'all are on Underdog, so make sure you are taking advantage of the James Harden line. I don't know how they've done so many of these. I don't know why they've done so many of these, but make sure you go open up the app. That's a free bet for y'all there. And Underdog for that line is going to be available everywhere in yellow. The drafts are available everywhere in yellow and gray on this map, but that line will be available everywhere in yellow, just to be clear with everyone. Okay. Now, Renfro, Isaiah Hodgins, both off the board. Let's swing this back around. And yeah, we definitely aren't going to take another running back. We're going to stop at 5 RBs. And we're not taking another quarterback. So we are exclusively wide receiver and tight end from here on out. Okay, Kenneth Gainwell goes. Essentially, anybody that goes at running back or quarterback's great for us. Tyler Conklin goes to this team here. That's not the team that has Aaron Rodgers. This team takes their second rookie tight end. Bold call. Scorp says, how many likes for another draft? I am actually going to get another draft going for y'all no matter what. Now, there's little asterisks on that, and I'll explain in a little bit. We're going to get another draft going after this one. Don't y'all worry. Now, Jeff Wilson goes off the board here, 186. Good for us. Good for us. Brock Purdy, 187. We'll reach on Hayden Hurst here. I'm just a little worried because this team that took 4 tight ends, I think maybe they skew the market a bit. I mean, we have DJ Chark as well. So, I mean, maybe we just make that correlated bet that the Carolina Panthers passing offense is a little bit better than you expect. McCole Hardman goes. Noah says, I had a dream last night that Sam Laporta dropped 48 fantasy points in his first game. Oh, dear God, man. I got news for you. You're going to need some counseling. We're going to need to get you some help, my friend. Okay, what are we doing here? We have Russ, Lance. Okay, none of that matters. And F it. We'll just go Gesicki. Who cares? We'll go Gesicki, and then we are going to queue up some last wide receivers. So it'd be nice to get another Denver guy in here. So let's go with Patrick. We'll go Joshua Palmer as well. I'd take Paris Campbell if we had the option. I'd take Cedric Tillman if we had the option. I'd take Marvin Jones, and then outside of that, we'll just queue up everybody else in order. Okay. All right. Now, let me show off this draft board before we get into our next draft. And of course, if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this bad boy. And if you want to get in another Underdog draft with us, you can find the link in the comment section, find it in the description. Use promo code FLOCK for a 100% deposit match. And if you're on flockfantasy.com as well, you're going to have some super cool stuff going your way very, very soon. Okay. But sadly, I will not be getting in another Underdog draft here because our next draft will be on the Dynasty channel. It will be a Dynasty startup. So if you're not already there, Dynasty Football Flock, I'll look it up for y'all. Don't you worry. And I'll get you a link. That way you aren't going to miss it. I mean, I'm lying to you. I'll get you a link to the channel, right? I don't know how to find where okay, here. I can get the link to the live stream. It says it's going to start at 4, but to be honest with you, I'm going to be incredibly busy today. So I will probably go get a cup of water and just start this live stream like right now. So yeah, the link to the Dynasty draft is in the live chat. That's going to be on the Dynasty Football Flock YouTube channel. But again, thank you so much for being members of the flock. Truly do appreciate y'all. Really do hope that y'all have a great day and really hope that we get to see you in the Dynasty live stream in maybe 2 minutes.